behavior affects financial markets. That humans are make rational decisions, and all economic theories are based on that. But in actual, this is not the case. Humans are not rational, and because of that, there are inefficiencies. The first being this, that returns are maximum in case of stocks, but people do not invest in stocks. Also, if you take any mutual funds, these are many today financial influencers like Ankur Warikoo who do on Excel calculation that you can make 10 crore in 20 years. That is true in calculation, but people haven't met people who have made 10 crores doing SIP. Why the reason? It is investments has done good, but investors have done poorly, and that's the reason of behavior, because people make decisions not rationally but irrationally. So these are traditional economic theories. Efficient market, that all the stock prices are a function of all the information and everyone has the information. So markets are efficient. Also, people make rational decisions. They want to maximize profits, which is the whole introduction of economics is all based on this. But when we come to behavioral economics, we tell that there is the efficient market hypothesis is wrong. Markets are not efficient. There are inefficiencies in markets, and all the theories to make money are based on the simple premise that you can exploit the inefficiencies. Because if let's suppose market were efficient, then in that case investing in individual stocks doesn't make any sense. You just buy a index fund and you will be the best investor. But that is not the case. People had made more money than index investments. So basically psychology and the impact of human decision making is based on will impact financial decisions, and that will impact your returns. So when we make financial decisions, as I told, human nature is based on greed and fear. So people make decision out of fear or with greed. So I will take a very simple activity before starting with this slide. We have 1,000 rupees. You are given 1,000 rupees. Let's play a game. First, you have to pick one of these two options. The first is you will get additional 500 rupees with the 1,000 rupees. The second is you got to flip a coin. I will flip a coin, and if head comes, you will gain 1,000 rupees. If tail comes, you will get 0. So how many of you will pick A option? How many of you will pick B option? Only 3 people for B, most people were for A. Basically, if you see, these are both the same option. The expectation rate return from this option is also 1000 multiplied by 1 by 250. Sorry, 500. These are same option, but people pick this one because there is a behavior which is called as due to fear of losing, loss aversion. People don't want to lose things. There is second very interesting thing called sunk cost fallacy, and this is a very useful concept that you can use in your life to make decisions. What happens that if I invest some time, energy, money in something, then even though I know that I am doing the wrong thing, I will keep investing more in it. That is called the sunk cost. And the rational decision to make in that condition is to let go of the sunk cost and start afresh. Let's take an example. All of you are studying science, and we all know that in research money is very less. You will do PhD, make 40,000 a month. It would, but what you have done, coming to ICER, you have prepared for ICER. 2 years you have wasted. Spent 5 years. You have given hundreds of exams, mid-sem, end-sem, quizzes, practical, what and not, and you have suffered for 5 years. But you will not change your field. You will think, यार मैंने इतना time लगाया, इतना energy लगाया, इतना पैसा भी लगा दिया, fees भर रहा हूँ ICER की मैं. I will not change my decision. I will not go to some other field, even though you are more interested in that field. That's a sunk cost. And if you are logical, if you are rational, then you will say that this cost has already been gone. The time has already been gone. Cost has already been gone. If I want to make decision, I have to make decision from now. What is good from now onwards? That is obviously that I want to go in the field which I am interested in and which makes more money. That is to change from academia to industry. But I will not do that because of sunk cost fallacy. And this is because of fearing of losing something. Humans by nature are very risk averse, are very fearful of losing anything. That's why, for example, you went into a relationship with a girl and you invested maybe 1 year in with this girl, and after 1 year you realize that we are not compatible, but you will hold on to that relationship even though you know that this girl is not right for me. This is example of sunk cost. It was very blunt, but the second things are humans are very greedy. So does every one of you know Hindi? Okay, so आपको किसी व्यक्ति को बोला जाए कि देखो ये 100 रुपये की चीज़ है, इसको मैं 50 में देता हूँ, उससे आप और मोल भाव कर लोगे, नहीं नहीं भाई भैया 40 में लगाओ, 30 में लगाओ. लेकिन मैं आपको बोलूँ कि मैं आपको क्या कहते हैं एक अपॉर्चुनिटी बेचता हूँ जिसका कॉस्ट एक्चुअली मेरे लिए 0 है, लेकिन मैं उससे आपको सपना दिखाता हूँ कि देखो इस चीज़ को तुम लोगे, इससे तुम 5,000 कमाओगे, तो मैं जिसकी कॉस्ट 0 भी होगी उसको भी मैं 200 रुपये में खरीद लूँगा. दिस इज बेसिकली ग्रीड. तो जितने भी स्कैम्स होते हैं, दीज आर ऑल बेस्ड ऑन ह्यूमन ग्रीड, बिकॉज वी इनहेरेंटली वांट टू मेक मनी. So people do preparation of CAT, get into IIMs. Why they do that? They thought that okay, I will go to IIM, I will get 30 LPA job, I will get a good girl, and my life will be settled. These are all dreams which are sold to you by coaching institute. You don't know that this is true or not. So that is the thing, and that's why the products that are sold in the name of dreams, they do very good. Like for example, elite educational institutes have very high gross margins. Take example of Harvard. They are charging you $100,000 for doing a damn degree. Its value we don't know, but you invest in that, and the gross margins are phenomenal. 90% gross margins. Why? Because you got a dream that I will go to Harvard, I will study in Harvard, I will get a job of $200,000, I will get this and that. This is all greed. So there are two very important biases. One is endowment effect, one is status quo. So endowment I explained to you. You are let's imagine you are a salesman. You want to sell something. So आप क्या करते हो, कस्टमर को बुलाते हो, कस्टमर को बोलते हो कि लो ये तुम्हें पैसा नहीं देना, 15 दिन के लिए फ्री ट्रायल लेके जाओ. तो कस्टमर को लेट्स से कोई भी एग्जांपल, कोई मोबाइल फ़ोन ले लेते हैं, ठीक है. कस्टमर मोबाइल फ़ोन लिया, 15 दिन यूज़ करता है, सेल्समैन दोबारा आता है कि मैम आपको इसको कंटिन्यू करना है कि या तो आप पैसा दे दो, वरना फिर आप मुझे वापस दे दो. लेकिन देखा गया, रिसर्च जितनी भी हुई उसमें देखा गया 95% केस में लोगों ने वो चीज़ खरीद ली. Because once we get invested in something, then we get more, we look for confirmation of our decision that this thing is good. तो 15 दिन जब आप यूज़ करोगे तब आप उससे मतलब हैबिचुअल हो जाओगे, उसको यूज़ और करना चाहोगे. दैट इज एंडोमेंट इफेक्ट. द थिंग जिसको एंडोमेंट इफेक्ट स्टोर में यूज़ करते हैं, मॉल्स में आपको बोला जाता है कि जब जाओ मॉल में जाओ, सब चीज़ों को टच करो, यूज़ करके देखो, वो इसीलिए करा जाता है जिससे कि एंडोमेंट इफेक्ट टर्न हो. Also called as ownership effect. Then is the status quo bias. You want the status quo to be remain. For example, I bought a stock at. I take my personal example. I bought a stock known as Aavas Financiers. Bought it at 3,000. I know one reason that this stock will do poorly. That was there was private equity in that, and because of that there was a lot of selling pressure on the stock. But when I owned this stock and I owned that for a year, the stock is not performing. But I am not selling. Why? I am thinking of 100 reasons that this is a good company, good ROE, good growth, blah blah blah. But the simple thing I am not seeing that supply and demand is out of my favor. I should have sold the stock, but I have not because I got attached to the stock. This is a good company. I have my brother. He used to own ITC for about 10 years, made 0 returns. Endowment effect. I am holding the stock, very good stock. ITC Hotels is there, ITC Cigarette is there. What a company! It will give me returns. But the better decision will be to sell the stock. Reconfigure your portfolio. One more question. A little change. You have 1,000 rupees. If you one option is you will guaranteed lose 500 rupees. Second option is you flip a coin. If head comes, you lose 1,000. A tail comes, you lose nothing. Which option will you pick? A and B? B. So now this is a very interesting thing that in that case we were picking A most people. In this we will pick B because here is certainty of loss. A certainty of loss is like more hurtful to us than uncertainty of profits. But as uncertainty of profits is less intriguing to us than certainty of profit. So losses we want uncertain, but profits we want certain. That's what life is. But the life is opposite. Profits, things which will do good to you, they will be uncertain. यू प्रिपेयर फॉर एग्जाम निकले ना निकले पता नहीं, हो सकता है ना. लेकिन जब लॉस है, लॉस यू वांट अनसर्टेन, बट लेट्स से आप सिगरेट पीते हो तो खराबी होना है, देयर इज a certain loss to that. So life is exactly opposite, but our cognitive bias is exactly opposite. So laws aversion, that even though investors take more risk when faced with a loss and are more conservative to lock in sure profits. This is definition of loss aversion, but I explained you what exactly is loss aversion. Basically, a rupee of profit is like उसका इम्पैक्ट कम होता है एज कम्पेयर टू 1 रुपये का लॉस. 1 रुपये का लॉस कॉग्निटिवली बहुत मुश्किल होता है. 10 रुपये का प्रॉफिट होगा तब जाके 1 रुपये का लॉस की शांति मिलेगी आपको. सो ड्यू टू लॉस अवर्जन पीपल लाइक टू गो विथ फिक्स्ड इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स, FDs, very lucrative by sure gains. Take more risk when threatened with a loss. For example, I have a stock bought it at 100, now it's 50. I should have sold the stock, but people will not sell the stock. They will hold on to it. They will see कि भाव आएगा तो बेचेंगे, मतलब भाव मतलब प्राइस आ जाएगा, मेरा 100 रुपये आ जाएगा, मैं बेच दूंगा. This is what loss aversion, also example of sunk cost fallacy. Investor prefer fixed income over investment over stocks, tendency to hold losers and sell. This is a very interesting thing, that the optimized your financial decision should be जो स्टॉक चल रहे हैं, जो स्टॉक अच्छा कर रहे हैं उनको बेचना नहीं चाहिए, उनको होल्ड करना चाहिए, बट जो खराब कर रहे हैं उनको बेच देना चाहिए. हम उल्टा करते हैं. कोई स्टॉक में प्रॉफिट बनता है, 25% प्रॉफिट बना, 100 का 125 हुआ, बेच दिया, अरे वाह प्रॉफिट आ गया, मजा आ गया. लेकिन उल्टा हुआ, 100 का 50 हो गया, लॉस है, लॉस बुक नहीं करेंगे, सोचेंगे कि भाव आएगा तब बेचेंगे, प्राइस आएगा, द स्टॉक विल गेट टू 100, देन आई विल सेल. सो दिस इज द क्वेश्चन you have. We will leave this because we don't have much time. So the thing we were understanding before, sunk cost fallacy, that you increase your commitment to justify past action. You want to justify your past action. You will hold on to that girlfriend on which you have spent 1 year just to justify sunk cost. So this always happens. For example, you bought a stock at 100, it goes to 50. You will not sell it, you will hold it. Also, you will average it. Say, I will buy it at 50. Why? Average down हो जाएगा ना, 75 आ गया मेरा, cost कम हो गया मेरा. But the optimal behavior was to be selling the stock. Second thing, spending on repairs. You got a mobile phone, 20,000 rupees mobile phone, battery goes haywire. After 2 years, you will spend on changing the battery. Maybe you spend 5,000 now. Screen got damaged. You are spending 5,000 more. The optimal behavior was to discard that phone, get a new phone out of 10,000 rupees that you spend. You will got a new phone. What is it? Sunk cost. Government spending on unfair. So very good story about this point. The US government spent almost more than 7 trillion on the war in Afghanistan. In the earlier years, they have realized that what they have done is not good for them. But they have took the decision. They now justify decision. They will, okay, we will try. We will do something. Maybe the problem sorts out. The biggest example of sunk cost fallacy playing out with the US government spending more than 7 trillion, and afterwards they have to leave Afghanistan, wasting $7 trillion. Okay, so you inherited 50 lakh from some random uncle you don't know. It's not from your father. You got 50 lakh. Maybe it's lottery also. What you will do? Will you invest in bonds, stocks, mutual funds, PPF? What exactly will you do? Anyone?
Percentage-wise,
The most money where will you spend?
mutual
Mutual funds. Anyone else? Anyone else?
stocks,
Stocks.
mutual funds.
Mutual fund and stocks. Nobody for bonds? Bonds, fixed income, stocks. Bonds. Okay, one for bonds. Anyone for PPF? Okay, so here is the thing, that the money that you got for like typically free, you will take more risk with it. But the money that you earn yourself, if you have earned 50 lakh yourself, बोले यार भाई मेरे को नहीं करना ये सब, मैं तो भाई बॉन्ड खरीदूंगा, बॉन्ड भी नहीं, मैं तो भाई एफडी कर दूंगा, भाई एसबीआई में जाऊंगा 6% इंटरेस्ट एफडी की. So this is a typical example, but if you think logically, 50 lakh is 50 lakh. Whether you earned it yourself, whether you got it for free, The money is same. The money is not saying that the 2000 rupee note doesn't say that it is due to the effort of Mr. Anshuman and not because of he got lucky. No, money is the same, but we have different behaviors to the same money.
If he has worked hard for the money,
We feel more value to it.
Yeah,
but
so we'll be
but-
risk averse.
But the rational thing will be 50 lakh is 50 lakh, 1 lakh is 1 lakh. Doesn't matter is it because of my hard work or I got it for free. The decision should be the same, but you are taking two different decisions. Why? Because of endowment effect, a combination of all endowment effect. You feel more attached to that money if you have earned it. Decision paralysis happens due to status quo. So basically, I will take you two example how decision paralysis happens. Anyone has seen that new movie that has came out, IC 814, making a lot of
Netflix.
controversies. So it was about Indian Airlines plane departed from Nepal and it was flying to Delhi. So that got hijacked by 5 Pakistani people. Sorry, 5 people. That got hijacked, and with some the pilot was very intelligent person, I believe. With some negotiation with the pilot, they convinced the hijackers. The pilot convinced that we should land at Amritsar and get refueled the fuel. At that time, a national kind of a committee is made to deal this kind of adverse situation. But nobody haven't taken a decision. The thing was very simple. You know that these are hijackers. The simple thing you can do: burst the tires of the plane somehow do some operation. And the plane was there for around more than an hour on our soil, on our territory, but we couldn't do anything because of decision paralysis. कि मैं कुछ डिसीजन लूंगा उसमें कॉग्निटिव एफर्ट जाता है. I want to maintain the status quo. Nobody took the decision. Not even Punjab police, not even the NIA. NIA was not there at the time. Not even the National Security Advisor. Typical example, decision paralysis, because you want to maintain the status quo. Because if you have done anything foolish, what would have happened? Maybe a death of many more casualties would have happened, and that will be you will be hold accountable that you took the decision and many people died because of you. So what's the answer? Don't take any decision, no risk. In finance, status quo. So what happened in 1995 to 2000? There was a IT boom. People bought Infosys stock. Infosys stock got 400 times, 500 times, 1000 times even. 1 rupee stock getting to 1000. That was the thing. But many people came to at the last of the party, at the peak of the bubble. Now they have bought 1000 rupee stock. The stock goes to 600. They should have sold. No, we will not sell because selling something is changing the status quo. We will have decision paralysis. We will not sell the stock. The stock will ultimately get to 10 rupees. And maybe even it will get delisted. So 1000 investment 0. You could have sold it much earlier. Unit Trust of India was an institution similar to LIC, used to invest money in markets earlier. Now it's not there. It has the most number of these. It has invested in these stocks which have become delisted. Never sold the positions. Why? Because वहाँ जो बाबू बैठा हुआ है उसको अपने ऊपर जिम्मेदारी नहीं लेनी कि मैंने बेचा है, मैंने नुकसान में बेच दिया. नहीं, उसको स्टेटस को रखना है, डिसीजन पैरालिसिस करेगा. Investors buy top performing funds. So right now defense and PSU stocks are the thing, and there are many PSU funds there. People are buying PSU funds. Why? Because this is related to their behavior. They are thinking that 2 year में stock 3 गुना हो गए हैं, अभी 2 साल में और 3 गुना हो जाएंगे. People buying junk stocks. I remember in 2020 I had one uncle, and the Yes Bank share was at 100 rupees. It has fallen from 300 to 100. And my uncle, he bought Yes Bank at 100. And we consulted him and said him that you should not buy the stock. There was a clear NPA crisis in Yes Bank. Yes Bank was about to shut down. He bought it 100, then couldn't sell. The stock went to 10 rupees. Now it's obviously 40 rupees. But typical example, people getting justifying their previous decisions. So we discussed endowment effect. So the major takeaway in terms of financial things is be ready for the threshold of loss. It's okay to make losses. Losses are okay as long as you make more than what you lose. So cut your losses earlier. For example, you got into a college, you are in the first year, you think that this college is not good for me, this field is not good for me. It is better to leave it at that time than to complete the 4-year course and then being more regretful, why did I wasted 4 years of my life. It could have been you have left the college at 1 year itself. So very good model for your decision making. Diversify. Don't invest all your money in one stock. I like the stock of LIC, very good. I will invest everything in LIC. Diversify. The big picture. Make an investment plan, stick to it because you are bound to make mistakes because your psychology is against you. So make an investment plan, stick to it. Reframe losses as gains. Because for example, if a stock from 100 goes to 600, if you exited at 600, it's a gain. If it goes to 200, your loss has been 800, not 400. It's a gain of 400 actually. But so reframe your losses as gains and focus on integrated losses. One thing loss chalta hai. Also, we always forget about opportunity cost. So what is opportunity cost? Let's say you done your bachelor degree from ISER. You thought that I want to get a job. I do CAT exam. I get into IIM. But you thought that after ISER I will get job of 10 lakh and after IIM I will get job of 20 lakhs. But you are discounting one thing. Between this 2 years of period or 3 years of period, you will lose 30 lakh rupees. This is your opportunity cost. You could have done a job, get a job of 10 LPA, earn 30 lakh rupees. Also, you will pay 20 lakh rupees as fees. So actually, your actual investment people will count as 20 lakhs. Actual investment actually 50 lakhs because 30 lakhs is your opportunity cost. But we don't discount it. For example, you are doing a startup. People don't involve their opportunity cost and go into wrong startups. Very important thing: don't fall in love with your stocks because the stock doesn't know that you own. You are buying a stock, maybe it is not performing for maybe 5 years. You should not feel endowment for that. You should not fell in love with the stock.
And there is a saying: never marry the stock, just date the stock. Date and down.
Very true.
Very good use of words. Very intelligent.
So these are
Very intelligent.
very important mental accounting. So one mental accounting we learned that 100 rupees doesn't matter. 50 lakh is 50 lakh, doesn't matter you get it through bribery, sorry. You steal 50 lakh rupees, you get it for free, you inherited it, you spend 10 years of your life earning 50 lakh. 50 lakh is 50 lakh. So your financial issues will be same for that amount. Does not matter how you acquired that. Okay. So there is in Gita there is all this thing about you should be detached. So the thing is that be detached. That a timeless. That's a I would say a timeless gyan which is given in Gita. Detachment. Self-attribution. We always think ourselves as having more capability than we actually have. For example, if there is a survey that 100 people we take and we said that how many of do you your driving skills, rate your driving skills. Most people will rate it 8, 9, 10. If everyone is 8, 9, 10, why are all accidents happening? That is self-attribution. You are thinking you yourself more than you are actually are. Ego, what you call it. Anchoring. So this is used by marketers a lot. So they will say that 300 is the MRP, getting it for 100. Actual price was 50 rupees. But now you will buy, okay, I am getting 66% discount. Anchoring. They have anchored 300 rupees price to your mind. So the thing is that you are spending 100 rupees. Doesn't matter the MRP is 300. You think about the value. If the value I am getting out of that 100 rupee investment is more than the 100 rupees, then it's justified and you will call rational. Otherwise, it's irrational.